Well, if I had any doubt remaining that we were going to war, 99% of it would have been removed by Biden's trip to Ukraine and Putin's speech. Going to talk about that today. Before we get into that, I want to remind everybody here that this, regardless of whatever ads you may see on here, this is brought to you by my books, the Stonemont series. This is a complete lesson in novel. It's a great story, but it's everything you need to know to prepare for, survive, and rebuild after a complete collapse of the system, the world, whatever. If you're serious about preparing and you haven't read these books, you need to. I always put the link to how to get them from Amazon right down there below. You can get them in Kindle or paperback. And yes, I am taking a break to make this from doing my final edit on the sixth book, Hostages to Fortune, that continues the story and the lessons. I just made one to let the people who may be watching this who aren't on Patreon. I just made one over on Patreon on getting back in shape, getting back in good physical condition, and with the exception of our spiritual health, our physical health, and our mental health, both of which can be improved with physical conditioning, are at the top of the important. If you really want to be prepared and you are not where you need to be in your physical condition, you need to get there. And I put it up over on Patreon. Now, somebody will ask, before we get into we're going to war, yes, we are. And that's another reason you need to be in shape. Not so you can go fight it, but because of, there are challenges that come with hard times. And if you're not in shape, you're not going to do as well as if you were. The reason that I put it over there, and I'll just use this opportunity to explain this again. The reason that I don't put it on YouTube, because I know there will be a lot of people say, well, we want to know. Why won't you tell us here on YouTube? Okay, well, I understand that. But when I put up, fitness is just like guns and diet. Okay, just like everybody thinks they know all about it. And very people know much about it at all. And whenever I put these things up, and these just happen to be the things that I know about because they're the way I made my living, okay? It's funny that I don't try to tell people who sell insurance all about insurance because I don't know. But it's amazing to me that people who have read a magazine or a self-help book or something like that will come on and try to instruct the rest of us all about guns and fitness and diet and whatever. So this is the reason that I don't, because we would just be flooded with idiotic statements about fitness, about diet, most of which would be wrong. And it just, it confuses other people who really want to learn about it. And then I have to spend too much of my time, and I have plenty to do, going through the comments and deleting all these idiotic comments. So I just put them over on Patreon where we don't have those problems. And if you are really that interested in it and you really want to know that stuff, invest $1 in yourself and come join us on Patreon. That's the way to do it. Okay, instead of expecting, free information on I used to make my living doing this stuff, and to an extent, in some ways, I still kind of do. So, hey, spend $1 on yourself. Don't get your Diet Coke today at McDonald's, and spend that dollar, 1/30 of what you spend on McDonald's Diet Cokes in a month, over there, and actually learn something that will help you. Okay, back to the main topic of today. I really didn't have any doubts that we were headed towards war. I haven't talked about that much lately, just because I don't see any reason to come on here every day and say, World War III, we're going to war, this happened and that happened, and all these kinds of things. Hey, it's happening. Keep your eye on it, But in the aftermath of Biden's trip over to Ukraine and our sending how many more billions of dollars over to Ukraine, and Putin's speech, and our little machinations with China and the other little puppets over in Europe, spouting their predetermined songs. If I had any doubt that we're going to war, 99% was destroyed by these things. Now, why do I say that? Those of you, which are very few, who know the real reasons that we got into World War II and World War I, see how this is almost exactly a repeat. It's a repeat with what we're doing. It's a repeat with what other countries are doing, both in Europe and in Asia. Same thing. If you understand, if you know the real causes of those wars, World War I, World War II, and you can't say it on here, and neither can I. We can't say it. You see such amazing parallels that they would be amazing if you didn't understand that this is simply the way the world powers do it when they want to start a world war. This is the way they do it. The multinational corporations, the banks, the political class, the media, this is the way they do it. I don't see any backing out of a world war at this place because it's simply going down the exact same track. Now, many out there, the thing is, everybody thinks they know about how we got into those wars. Well, some people slept through history class, but most people who paid attention in history class think they know. Well, they're sure they know. And if what you know about it is what you learned in high school history class or college history class or through the media or through the movies, you don't know. Simple as that. Now, I don't mean to hurt people's feelings, but what I want to explain is what I want to try to do is to get people to look into this further. Even 5 years ago, at one point, the information was widespread and readily available. Remember, if you know, you can't say it on here. I will have to delete your comment. I know it's sad. I know it's sad. I would love to be able to come on here and tell everybody exactly the truth. But I can't because I'll get shut down. You know that, okay? So if you put it on here, I'm going to have to delete it. What I want everybody to do is to try to figure it. You can either take my word that we're going into a war, or you can say, well, let me try to figure this out. I want to kind of do my own research, which you should. Okay, you should. And like I said, 10, 20 years ago, the information was readily available anywhere. Even 5 years ago, there was quite a bit of information out there available that you could find the truth. Now, when I try to give links to people to show them, how to go about their own investigation, I can hardly find any links. It's all been taken down. You guys ever watched 1984? Okay. The Cultural Revolution, when they get rid of the past. And new generations don't know anything about the past, so they think that everything coming along is brand new. It's not. This is the way they do it, and it's going to get us into a war. It's going to get you into a war. For those of you who are watching in Canada and Australia and Europe, it's going to affect you as well. I would suggest, and then I'll get back, I'm going to give you one idea. I would suggest that you read Mein Kampf. Read Mein Kampf. It's written by you-know-who. I don't even want to say his name on here. I'm afraid that I'll get whatever. It means my struggle in German. Read it. You will be blown away by what you read, and it will be the beginning of your understanding. It will be difficult. It is difficult for people, even after they read that, to let go of some of the false beliefs they have swallowed whole because of the information system that has, hey, the matrix, right? You got to unhook yourself. So it's coming. Whether you want to go down that path or not, it's going to change the way you see pretty much everything, if you do. So if you want to hold on the way you feel right now, better not. War is coming because you don't want it. They didn't want it back in the 30s and 40s. The American people, they didn't want it in the 19 teens. They didn't want it. The leaders wanted it. That's why there's war. Our leaders want it. That's why there's war. And we are doing the things that ensure war will happen. Now, how does that affect you? It affects you because of the effects that it can have on the economy, on food supplies, on supplies for fuel, on travel, on the potential return of the draft, the steps to which the national government might go, regardless of what country you're watching this in, the steps to which your national government might go to ensure your safety. When war starts, national governments assume an ownership of the individuals, of the citizens. You become one of their many, many pawns. You become disposable. You become unimportant except as a mechanism to create and from which to get tax dollars. Okay, you're a workhorse. That's basically it. You can go build airplanes. You can go build tanks. You can go, work on the assembly line for missile systems or new bombers or things like that. But you don't matter. You are a piece of flotsam. Just a piece of trash floating down the stream. That's what the individual citizen is. How you handle this is what determines how it's going to affect you. Increase your preparedness. Increase it as much as you can. And that means all of the basic things: food, water, defense, shelter, everything. Mobility, vehicles. You want to be able to be mobile. You want to be able to stay in one place for a long time. You want to be able to leave that place if you need to, because you might need to. You want to separate yourself as much as possible from the system. And by that I mean from a reliance on the system. Okay, you don't want to have to rely on the system. Yeah, I love turning on my lights and turning on the water tap and all that. I'm not going to separate myself from that. But I prepare myself so that I'm able to do so and continue my life if I have to. Am I worried about a nuclear strike? No, I'm not. No, it's could it happen? Yeah, it could happen, I suppose. But I'm in Kansas. It's not going to happen here. I know Whiteman's over there, but they're not coming in here. If there was a nuclear attack against the continental United States, it would be on one of the coasts. And I don't believe it would be a full-out strike. It would be a, hey, see what I did? If you do anything, Slow Joe, it's on. That's the only type of nuclear strike I would think would be possible at this time. Things can change. So, matter of fact, the one I was going to make today was on bunkers. Maybe I'll make that tomorrow. It would be good for you to have a place to go. If you have a bunker, it'd be good to have a bunker. But I don't think that's really our main concern. I think our main concern is the shut off of the grid. My books were about a CME, a super EMP. That's why they will teach you everything you know about preparing, how to prepare for, survive, and rebuild from it. But it doesn't have to be an EMP. It doesn't have to be a CME, although many of us are thinking that might be the only way we, start over from this mess that our leaders have gotten, and so many ignorant fellow citizens have gotten us into. No, it's those balloons that went over. Yeah, they could have contained EMP weapons. Any other type could. They could put scuds on freighters off our coast. Pop, pop, pop. Eastern grid, Western grid, Texas grid, all gone. They could do that, or they could, they could do it with cyber attacks. And that's the way of the warfare. That's the warfare of the future, Or they could do it with rifle fire, right? Or they could do it with a fire. The latest one out there was that in California, a substation, shut down. 50,000 people lost their power because of a fire. Really? Do you believe that? Whatever. We've got derailments all over the place. Part of a war is sabotage. Have we seen anything here lately that would be considered sabotage? Part of false flags are sabotage. Have we seen anything that could be that? Yeah, we have. The crux of the matter is this, that, in my opinion, we only have about a 1% chance that we're not going to war. That means if you play the numbers like I do, you're going to play the 99, not the 1. You're going to play the 99% we're headed for a war. Whether we like it or not, and most of us don't like it. But just because we don't like it doesn't mean that it won't affect us, which means that we need to prepare for it. Increase your basic preparations and start thinking about all the different scenarios that might happen. Okay? Are you stocked up where you are? Do you have vehicles ready to go if you need to go someplace else? Do you have your routes planned? Do you have all of the supplies in your vehicles? And when I say vehicles, if you have 3 vehicles in the family and you've got 3 people who can drive, you better take all 3 of them, and all 3 of them had better be loaded down with what you need. Okay, you don't all pile into the same one. We all got to stay together. No, redundancy. Okay, I think you all get the point. That's my opinion. I think we're headed to war. These things build up, which is they seem to people who aren't paying attention. I know I started that sentence about 4 times. To people who aren't paying attention, they all seem to happen at once. To those who pay attention, you see it building and building over years. That's what's happening now. That's why the people who understand what happened to bring on World War II and World War I see the parallel today. And it only goes in one direction. Okay. All right. Do what you can. Do everything you can for you and your loved ones. Tighten up with people you know. Make sure that your group is fully informed and tightened up and ready to go. See who's not. That's an important thing to find out too. If you have kind of, other contacts around, touch base with them. Touch base with them so that if it all goes to pot, you might be able to get a hold of each other, or they might need to come to your place. You might need to go to theirs. You might need to meet them someplace else. Improve your relationships. Improve your communications. And then just keep at it. Okay? Remember, if you don't have the books, show them one more time. You can get them from Amazon. The link's down there. If you're not with us on Patreon, you need to be. The link's down there. Come join us. Also, the new channel, I'll let you know about this. The new channel, Prepping for Prosperity, is really growing. It's great to have you all over there. You know, just because there's war doesn't mean that you can't continue to build. That's what Prepping for Prosperity is. We're in a time right now you can continue to build your personal situation, whether you want to consider it wealth or prosperity. I don't care. Improve your position. That's what it's all about. So remember that we prepare well today in order to live well tomorrow. Prepare, prepare, prepare. If you have been, double it. If you haven't been, get at it. And I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.